I hired a private investigator to prove my wife was cheating, and he called me 3 days later and told me to sit down. She wasn't cheating, she was dying. I had been building the case in my head for 2 months, the late nights. The phone she angled away from me, the distance that had appeared without explanation and widened every week. I knew my wife. 14 years. I knew when I was being kept outside something deliberately, and the story I had assembled from the pieces was the only one that made sense. I hired the investigator on a Monday. Felt sick doing it, did it anyway. He called Thursday morning and told me to sit down. She wasn't seeing anyone. What she had been doing with those nights and that phone was attending a support group for people diagnosed with early onset Parkinson's disease. Twice a week, a church basement 40 minutes away. 6 weeks of meetings. She had been diagnosed 10 weeks ago. She hadn't told me. I sat in my car, and the story I had built completely collapsed, and what replaced it was so much worse than anything I had imagined that I couldn't move for a long time. My wife had received a life altering diagnosis and decided to carry it alone. That was the fact I had to sit with, not the Parkinson's. The decision. The calculation she had made that keeping this from me was better than giving it to me. I went home and walked in and said her name, and something in my face told her immediately. She went completely still. She didn't ask how I knew. She just said, "I'm sorry," and her voice broke on the second word. We ended up on the kitchen floor, backs against the cabinets, and she told me everything. The appointment, the diagnosis, the weeks of research alone on her phone while I slept. She said she had needed time to understand it herself before handing it to someone else. I asked what stopped her from telling me. She said she was afraid of becoming something I had to take care of, that the look she imagined on my face was one she wasn't ready to see. I thought about what look she had imagined. Then I thought about all the ways I had behaved in 14 years that taught her to imagine it. The times I got overwhelmed and went quiet, the times I made her difficulty about myself. The small accumulated evidence of a man who loved his wife but hadn't always made her feel safe enough to fall apart in front of him. I told her she would never have to protect me from the truth again. That whatever came next, we were carrying it together. She leaned her head on my shoulder and exhaled in a way that told me she had been holding that breath for 10 weeks. Her condition is progressing slowly. We have a doctor we trust, a plan, more honest conversations in a week than we used to have in a month. I almost destroyed my marriage, proving something that wasn't true. The real truth was harder than the one I invented. It was also the one worth staying for.